Hi there, it's Cancer Update 38 and today's date is whatever is on the screen to my side. I'm in a car right now. In the back seat you can see my friend there, Shivvy. So say hello, Shivvy.
Hello.
And over here we have my friend Perry. Hi. Now I know these two for 14 years. I met Perry in 2009 when Perry and Shivvy were boyfriend-girlfriend. And Perry and I met at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Los Angeles, and I recognised his Australian accent and I went up and said hi. I was there making some movies. Perry was there delivering a guitar. Perry, do you want to briefly tell us that story?
Yeah, it was a bass. It was an 8-string bass, so it has 4 strings doubled up. But the interesting thing about that one is that it had the only last remains of a particular musician by the name of Rhoads, and that was a thumbnail that had broken off his finger a year or so before he passed away, that his best friend kept for some funny reason, and then that got passed on to me with apparently the family's blessing to make into an instrument and use that as the feature so that his DNA can continue on to be on stage forever. And yeah, so I did that, and I was in LA delivering that instrument when I met Paul. And
I remember you told me that night you'd been really scared because when you were, it was something like when you were setting the epoxy, it got bubbles in it. Do you remember telling me that?
So we filmed the whole thing with the idea that we can document it.
Is it on YouTube?
No.
Okay.
It's never been released. As part of that process, we needed to test things like, okay, we're going to embed this thumbnail in resin. I need to know that this resin works this particular way over this period of time, and etc., so that we can time everything and we can make sure it's perfect. So right. Sure enough, in the 4 tests that we did, everything was to the second almost.
It's perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah. And
then we put a layer of resin in this kind of hole that's in the headstock, which is the top of the base where the tuners are. Put the thumbnail in, mixed up the next batch, poured half of it into the cavity and the other half left in the cup.
Yeah. And
the resin in the cup dried as per it, exactly as
meant to, yeah.
And the resin in the base took 4 days longer.
Oh no.
And I had a very, very tight deadline of when to get this. I don't know why, when you've got to do something that's quite important, whether it's important for your career or important for the client or important for the historical value or whatever, and especially if there's a camera there, I don't know why everything has to be on a deadline.
Yeah.
But that's how all these, things happen, I guess. But yeah, it didn't cure off, and we tried everything to get that to cure off. But the remainder in the cup did go off. It was almost everything about that base. When I look back at it, I think this wasn't supposed to be happening.
Right.
Like, it's almost like that project should never have maybe been done.
But you did, and I remember you said to me, because I asked you, did you ruin it with the bubbles? And you said no, actually it had a really spacey effect, and the guy you delivered to it actually loved it. Yeah, well, that was it. It didn't look wrong. It looked great. It's just everything about that was like, Randy Rhoads was a guitarist in Ozzy Osbourne's band. He was the first guitarist when Ozzy went, left Black Sabbath and went on his own thing. Yeah. He was fascinated with trains, and he was a phenomenal guitarist. He died very young. He really was only famous for a couple of years. Yeah. But so there's very few interviews with him, but in one interview he mentioned that he would like to go to Austria because there was some family history there. I forget the exact Randy Rhoads said that.
Yes. There was some reason why Austria was attractive to him, but they didn't get to go there on the European tour, and he was a bit disappointed. And I believe it was a family history thing or descendants or something like that. When the thumbnail got posted to me by his ex-best mate from back in 1981 or tracking of that.
Oh, I remember this.
And
Yeah.
It went from Vegas to Chicago or something like that, and then it went to maybe France, and then ended up in China, and then Singapore, and it's like, okay, cool, it's left the Singapore, you know, it's on its way kind of thing, and it never arrived, and you know, tracking was unavailable, and you know, we're panicking that how can this go missing kind of thing, and it took them 7 days to find it. But what had happened was, when it left Singapore and was supposed to come to Australia, someone has decided, no,
Austria.
It's going to Austria. And it was found on the back of a truck, basically on its way to Austria.
That's
the final destination is going to be Austria. But how no one at, I think it was FedEx, no one was able to work out how it's gone through so many other points.
On its way to Australia.
Well, once it went the wrong direction, it passed through 4 or 5 hubs, but no one at any point was able to get that tracking to work, and at no point did anyone go, well, hang on a sec, something's wrong.
Yeah.
It just magically made its way there.
And it did make it to Austria.
It was on the back of a truck going out for delivery. I don't know where.
In Austria. So
yeah, so it did make it there.
Randy made it to Austria.
That's right.
Oh, that is so
other
cool.
Little things like when we got to the airport with the base, we got a hire car. I jumped into the hire car, turned the radio on, and there was just no sound. And I'm like, turn the volume. It's like, clearly got enough volume, surely. You know, I've turned it like a full turn.
Yep.
And it was just silent for maybe 15, like a very long time. Like 15 seconds is a long time when you're just waiting for something.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, Crazy Train, which was his most popular song,
came on the radio.
We then proceeded to go to the hotel, which happened to be across the road from a place called Guitar Center. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go over to Guitar Center and have a look. And I'm in there, and this lady said, hi, I'm wondering if you could help me out. And I just thought to myself, well, I don't work here, and I'm not even from this country.
Right.
You know, I feel like being a guitar salesman.
Sure, why not?
And I'm like, sure, what do you need? And she's like, well, my son, he's 13, he really loves Randy Rhoads, and he wants to have a guitar like he had. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, there were so many little things like that happened. Just unusual things, you know. We embedded inside the wood joins of that bass, I decided that it'd be really fun to have Randy's entire musical output on sheet music to be put onto microfiche film and embedded in the joints, right? So that's hidden inside.
That's in there to this day.
Yes, right.
And you've told who owns this guitar now? The bass, sorry.
Well, I made it for his best mate, his ex bass player from his original band, but then that got sold for something else, which maybe we shouldn't talk about.
No, that's I can.
It's ended up in a collector's hands, but
and that story of the microfiche being, what is it, in between the fretboards? Or?
So there's a top, there's a bodywood, and then there's a top that gets glued on.
This is on the body or on the
body? Yep. Yeah. And then there's a tiny chamber where there's a big roll of microfiche film.
Oh, that is so cool.
And it's sort of in there with a little handwritten note. And yeah, so little things like that microfiche film, having that process. So I've maybe managed to compile every piece of sheet music that every song that he ever wrote. I found a sheet music for it,
and it's in there,
or a version, and then was able to transfer it to microfiche film. And when that was happening, they said, "Oh, look, it only takes an afternoon."
Yeah, know? Sure.
But after 3 days, it's like, we're having a lot of problems with this. For some reason, it just won't work.
Yeah.
We've done other jobs and it's worked, and this will not work. Right. It's like something was stopping it from happening. And then another thing that happened was on the back of the body, it was a mahogany, I think it was a Tasmanian blackwood body with a piece of rock maple, an oval of rock maple embedded, inlaid in. Okay. And on that rock maple was a portrait of Randy Rhoads. And at the time, I wanted to find someone that was good with pyrography, which is the art of using basically sort of like a soldering iron almost to burn in an image. But we managed to find a guy that had a laser engraver, which then was brand new technology. I'd never seen one in person. You know, it's high-tech stuff. And managed to find this old guy who had this machine, and he was willing to burn this image in the back. So we went around there. We took around a sample piece of from the exact same piece of
same piece of wood.
Same piece of wood, sanded, same everything. The sample mint. The actual first time we tried it on the base, it just burnt it. It just singed it.
Right.
No definition. It was just charcoal. So we managed to sand a millimeter off the back by hand.
Okay.
And then try it again, and it was too light. So we tried it again and again. We ended up burning it in about 6 times to get any definition. Went back to the sample and did one more go on that. Went perfect.
How strange.
Yeah. And then another curious story with this is it's just nuts, man. So when we were at the airport leaving, some very good friends of mine decided to make a little YouTube video, right? and about, you know, just interviewing me at the airport kind of thing. And somewhere between that going up, which is obviously I got on the plane, and then when I arrived a day later in the US, that video's gone up, and then I had an email about it the second day I was in the US to say, hi, sounds really weird, but I went to school with Randy Rhoads, and I left school, and I just decided yesterday to Google and see what he had been up to, because I wondered what he ever got up to.
Oh wow.
And I found your video, and you talked about how he died, and that's really sad. He was such a nice guy at school.
Oh, far out.
And I thought, that's really unusual. And I replied back, and I was like, oh, you know, this is really crazy, you know, like, there's so many stories that just weird things are happening, you know?
Yeah.
And she said, well, but that's weird enough, but I actually lived in Perth, where you come from. Right? I lived with my grandparents, that's why I never kept up with anyone from school. She left America when she was 17 or 16 or whatever, came over to live with her grandparents in Australia for a few years, and then went back. And we got talking about that. Her grandfather is the one that did the laser etching in the back of the face. Yep.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yep.
Far out.
So there's lots of little things like that. There were some other things that happened that were just unusual, but maybe not necessarily tied to the actual manufacturing of the base, but lots of little things on that trip that just weird things that happened. And of course, that's when
that's actually how we met. Yeah. I need to pull you up through, Perry.
Yep.
So that's. I don't think we've hit the bottom of it there, but that's just some of the interesting events that happened around this base that Perry made with Randy Rhoads' thumbnail, and it was through that base being made that Perry and I met at Sunset Bar and Grill. Perry and I are now friends to this day. At that stage, Perry and Shivvy were boyfriend-girlfriend. So I've known Perry for 14 years, because that was July 2009. But Shivvy, I think I only met you not that long after that, because
it was actually about, no, it wasn't even that long. We came back from the trip. I saw your Facebook post about this weird guy you met.
He was the weird guy that I met. And we became friends straight away, didn't we?
It was about 8 days after that I saw you at IGA.
Oh, with Shivvy?
Yeah, we were there at IGA,
right.
and I saw you. I'm like, that's that guy, that guy. He saw my penis. Like.
Oh, hang on, we haven't told that story. There was a penis, okay? It was his penis, not my penis. All right, just
that might be a story.
Let's keep that story for another time. It's
it's the best meeting story, I think.
Well, now we have to tell the story.
No, we're gonna keep it.
All right, we'll keep it. We'll
subscribe for more.
We'll subscribe for more. There you go.
Subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe to Perry's penis. Perry's penis. Yeah, that's it. You should make that your YouTube channel. So look, just to catch up for me on my cancer, I have my cycle 2 of chemo starting tomorrow. So in the early afternoon, I'm doing my bloods to get my cancer markers, and then at about 2 p.m, I think it is, I get infused with my second lot of FOLFOX 6. I have started making up a table so that I can track my cancer marker figures with you. So the two cancer markers I'm going to be tracking are CA19-9 and CEA. Those are the two cancer markers that are important in my case, and I am going to track them with you. And tomorrow when I give that blood, that'll be mainly what they're testing for. So please wish me luck. What I would reflect to you at this point is, if you remember when I went and had my first lot of chemo, I was reflecting that, look out cancer, here comes the artillery, I'm throwing it at you. Now it's the second round, and I've thrown my artillery at the cancer. The cancer has also thrown its artillery at me, and I'm reminding myself of people like Muhammad Ali that get punched down on the canvas, and then they have to get back up off the canvas, and they need to go up there and be ready to get punched in the face again. And it's quite a mental process that you need to go through to front up for the second round and go, I'm here, punch me again. And then I have to do it 6 times. And for those of you that have been through a full round of 6 or 12 chemo, I get it. You pulled yourself up off the canvas and you went and you said, punch me again. And for those of you that did 6 but didn't decide to go on for the 12, I get that as well. I can absolutely see how you can find yourself thinking, I can't do this. This is worse than cancer. For me, I'm not there yet, and I hope I never get there at all, but certainly if I was to get there, I would understand that it damn hurts. So for me, round 2 starts tomorrow. Please wish me luck. I haven't talked to you about my best ex-girlfriend ever, Caroline, yet today. Caroline took an extra day in the hotel. She had a little bit of a runny nose, and just out of an abundance of caution, she decided to stay an extra day in the hotel. She is well today, and she's going to do a COVID test today as well. And assuming she passes the COVID test, then she will be at my house when I get home after this road trip with Perry and Shivvy. So you will get to meet Caroline in tomorrow's update. So that's it. So it's thank you from me. It's a big thank you from Shivvy and Perry. Thank you from you, Perry.
See ya.
All right. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. So what happened was, Perry dropped me home, and I know I did my final sign off in that previous scene, but after I came home, there was a surprise for me, and I'd like you to introduce that surprise to you. So if this lovely woman with a beret would like to come and join me, this is my best ex-girlfriend ever, Caroline, otherwise known as Cazzie, otherwise known as Begay.
Hello.
So Caroline has just returned from a trip in Europe, or perhaps you'd like to tell everyone.
Sure. I've been in Greece and a little bit of France. So I'm wearing my beret today from Paris, and I've been there with my family and also spent 1 day in Switzerland.
Fantastic. And Caroline actually arrived back in Perth a couple of days ago, but because I'm immunocompromised, Caroline very kindly stayed in a hotel just to make sure that she didn't have any colds or flus or, of course, COVID. And Caroline has passed all of those tests. So, yep, big tick there. So Caroline has now joined me at home, and Caroline's going to be living with me for the next 6 months. And I believe the health department, that's all.
Yep. Start work on Monday.
Yep, okay. And we've decided not to talk too much about Caroline's work. So we'll just leave it at Caroline is working at the health department where Caroline and I work together. But due to the nature of working in the health department, we're not going to talk about it particularly much on this channel. So you start next week, which means tomorrow you are able to assist me.
Yes. Tell me what's happening tomorrow, Paul.
Okay, thank you. As we scripted. So at 2:30 is my infusion. But before have I shown you this before?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. This genuinely is unscripted. So this is the infuser port.
Show us your bubble.
Yeah, so that's the infuser port. So there's a...
Can I touch it?
Yeah, you can touch it, yeah.
Ooh. That's gross.
So basically there's a tube that goes from there into my subclavian vein, and the subclavian vein goes right into the top of my heart. And the tube actually goes all the way to the top of my heart. I'm quite serious.
Can you feel it?
I can't feel... Put your finger there and you'll feel the 3 dots right there. You can push harder.
Oh yeah.
Feel the 3 dots.
Mm-hmm.
Then go on the edge. You can't really feel it. It goes down and then into the subclavian vein. But the actual tube, actually goes all the way to the top of my heart.
Okay.
So when they infuse me, it's not like they infuse me here and it travels to my heart. It's like they infuse me at the top of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's immediately then the chemo drugs are pumped out.
Yeah.
So back to the original question. So my infusion is at 2:30 tomorrow, but they need to take my bloods 1 hour before that to get my cancer markers.
Yeah.
So that's at 1:30. So I need you to take me to Murdoch Hospital at 1:30 tomorrow. I'm just for Caroline already knew this, but just to let you know, I'm one of these really lucky guys that has veins like the Amazon River. So phlebotomists have no trouble at all. If you just tap that one on my antecubital. So if you can see there, I hope, ow.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. So as you can see, I hope that's showing up on camera. I'm sure it'll keep.
That one there.
Yeah. So I'm one of these lucky guys that has veins that phlebotomists love. They never miss. I can see a bit of a bruise here from a previous one that I had a couple of days ago. But I've certainly got unlucky with cancer, but one thing I am lucky with is I have very, very well-defined veins, and my veins are very close to the surface. So that's one of the blessings. Cancer is not a blessing, but veins close to the surface is a blessing. So yeah, so 2:30 is the infusion, so 1:30 is the blood test.
Okay.
So if we leave at like 1 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be fine. So this is Caroline. You'll be seeing Caroline from time to time from here on in. So I know a lot of you were worried because you were seeing me on my own and you thought, Paul's living on his own, he's trying to deal with it on his own. His brother Noel comes and helps occasionally. I know a lot of you were worried. I certainly want to assure you from this point, I'm in great hands here with Caroline. Caroline and I have known each other for
10 years.
It was 2013, so it's 11 years actually, yeah. So we've known each other for 11 years. We were boyfriend, girlfriend for a while, so we have a very, very deep understanding of each other, and we do care for each other very deeply, right?
You're all right.
I'm okay, yeah, you're all right too.
Yeah.
And I'm in very good hands, so please don't worry about me. And I will definitely be posting tomorrow because I want to capture the moments of being infused for the second time. I know I did capture it for the first time, and I want to reflect on the differences between the first cycle of chemo and a second cycle of chemo because it's already feeling different. On the first round, I think you have a bit of a naive bravado about your situation. On the second round, you actually know what you're signing up for, and there's no naive bravado about it. It's all about, I understand the toughness of what I'm doing here, so I want to capture that on film as well. And Caroline will be there for that. Caroline, you're going to hang with me for the infusion. So I've got Caroline on my side now, so we're going to be okay. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Bye.
See you later.